So this morning, Layla and I, where'd you go, dear? There you are. Layla and I are going to take off on a little hike. I don't know if you can see it way off in the distance out there, in there somewhere. There's an old house, old structure. And you know me, I love old abandoned places. So I think we've made it beyond the head of the arroyo that's right behind camp, and we should be able to walk straight across to it. I'll let you know how that turns out. And of course, she's excited at the prospect of being able to check out new places, new smells. Just go somewhere with Daddy, I think. That's one happy dog right there. Walking out here is actually fairly easy because, as you can see, the creosote bush, bless you, Layla. The creosote bushes are sparse, scattered way apart. So it makes it easy for walking, and it makes it easy for spotting those critters that are coming out in the mornings to warm up after a cold desert night. So that is something to always be mindful, the things that hide under the bushes. So I started straight across from where I left the park, and as you can see, there's a little bit of an arroyo here. I think that's Spanish for, let me get up here closer. Easy, Layla. Spanish for a wash, basically. In Kentucky, they might even call it a holler. But it's where the water has run down and eroded away and created a not so kind walking surface. Sorry. And there, as I approached this, I saw two of these. So I thought I'd have to backtrack. But as it turned out, come on, Layla. Let's go this way. Come on. As it turns out, whoever this structure belonged to had a little road. I think you can see maybe the remnants of it. There it is. A little road leading out the point between those two arroyos. So we're on good track. Okay, so I wanted to stop walking for a minute and point out a couple of things. First of all, you'll notice all of the growth here is not much taller than Layla. The only thing growing out here in this entire region, I'm going to swing around a little bit and let you see it, are these little low creosote or chaparrals. And yes, the sky is just that beautiful right now. But going back, here's where that arroyo widened out, and as you can see, kind of down there in the bottom, you can see the Rio Grande. I just tried to zoom and it said you can't zoom in this mode. That's interesting. But a key point here is I stopped to show you these low brushes because filming and walking is not a good idea out here in the desert. There can be anything hiding under these little bushes, and if your concentration is broken by trying to watch a camera viewfinder, you could get yourself in trouble. So just a pro tip there. You know, if you're going to stop and if you're going to film something, stop and film it. Be aware of your surroundings and alert to any hazards that are there. So walking out here, looking at these arroyos and how they're cut and what the water has done, it's pretty amazing. And I think it would be kind of cool to see it when the water levels were up. But every now and then you'll come across something that's just basically a notch. And I can't tell you the rhyme or reason, but it's just the way the water washes. And I'm going to try to get as close to the edge as I can. But yeah, see how it's washed out that hole there? And then it washes along like this, and I'm going to be rotating the camera. And then look at that. Wow. Look how deep a notch that's actually cut down in the ground. I'm going to say that the bottom of that hole right there, hang on just a second. I had to pause and move. I can't get too close to the edge because some of it's undercut and I don't know how much weight it will bear. But that's about 15 feet deep, that notch, and then it gets deeper and deeper before it finally breaks out down there in the bottom and washes out to a big white spot. So it's just always kind of fascinating to me to see exactly how the desert's been formed by water. Okay, so as you approach one of these structures, remember, there's not been humans around for a while. So for the sake of your pets and yourself, get a good set of eyes on it before you just walk up into it, because it could be inhabited by anything. And that's what we're doing right now. We're taking our time and approaching it kind of slow and looking. If this were my little summer getaway, this would be the front. And judging from the fact there's a big opening, I'm betting there was like a screen porch here maybe. I'll move in just a little bit. Let's see here. It looks like, I don't know, maybe right there was a great big picture window, since it's not framed up and there's some pretty substantial framing under it. Layla, wait. It's hard to contain her enthusiasm. And maybe this whole front area was some kind of screened porch. In the backside, it has a bed frame in the corner. Right over there is a little bed frame that's left behind. Layla, hey, get out of there. So I'm thinking this was just some kind of little summer getaway cottage somebody built. There's obvious remnants of past human habitation with all the cans and things lying about. But I'm going to pause just a second and take you over to the end of the point so that you can see what they would have seen. But I can understand why this was built and facing this way. That's the arroyo that I was telling you I was walking around. And it opens up like that. That is the Rio Grande. Now, at one time, I think the water level for the lake, not that long ago, would have been, hang on Layla, would have been right up to the top, or you know, somewhere along that ridge, or rather that wall, because this arroyo to the other side of the little cabin, which runs all the way back up there, is fairly deep. So I'm assuming this is all water at one time, even though now when you look down in there, you see actual trees. So at one time, this was a beautiful summer getaway, is what I'm trying to say. And I'll throw in some extra still shots. All right, there's the Rio Grande and the arroyo to the right side of the house. I'm going to try to take you up in it. That is, if my assistant camera person, Layla, come here. There you go. Cooperates. This is that other arroyo to the right of the house. And like I said earlier, I really think that the water levels would have been up in here somewhere. Get my finger out of the focus frame. Up in here somewhere. And as you can see, it's pretty wide. It extends from here all the way across, and actually it goes up and kind of beyond. A little finger curves around. That was what I was saying. I may have to reroute my trip, but continuing on around from the point, there's where the house sits, and of course my darling Layla wants to photobomb everything. Hello, sweetie. But yeah, it would have made a really cool summer place. And then off in the background, about 3/10 of a mile away, you can see the campground. And where's our camp? Our camp is, let's see, right over there. Anyway, it's kind of a cool place. To date it a little bit, there are steel window screens, not aluminum. Looks like it was built well. There's not much insulation, but then again, here in this part of Arizona, listen to me, New Mexico, you probably didn't need much. And like I said, this was probably a summer place. It's not really, well, by today's standards, it's not really large enough to be an actual house like you would live in. Although I think I could be comfortable living in it, particularly back in the day when the water levels were a lot higher. This is overlooking the Rio Grande, just above the Elephant Butte Reservoir. The reservoir right now is at about the 5% level, which is exactly why all of this around us is dry. Off in the distance over there, you can kind of see the lake. But again, it's only 5% full. Why is it 5% full? Because 95% of it has been sold to Texas, Mexico, and others that are in that water agreement to share the water. That's the mighty Rio Grande. Certainly is not the picture that was evoked in my mind when I was in school studying and hearing about the mighty Rio Grande. So Layla and I have moved down this slope. Whoa. This is what we would call scree. It's real loose gravels, rocks, and there's several little layers of it. I've stopped here because I really don't want to get committed to going much further. Let me move the camera a little bit. Layla, that's enough. It drops off. From there, it's probably a 10 or 15 foot drop to the next level. And then it goes down. Come here, Layla. Come this way. Then it goes down to that level there. And beyond it, you can see some larger trees in the bottom there. So there's probably another 20 to 30 foot drop there. And then it goes out to the actual plane of the river. And I would say we're standing a good 80 to 100 feet above the river plain right there. But I just talked to Brenda on the radio, and she said, I bet the view is marvelous. So part of this is for her. And there's the lake, looking back around to the Rio Grande, around the crook that we see from camp. And there's cows down in the bottom, just to the right of that tree, that dead looking tree. Those little black dots way down there at the bottom are cows. And over here I can actually hear them mooing. So anyway, yeah, the view is absolutely fabulous. Let me stop the video for a second and change mode. I had to stop and change mode so I could zoom in on that cliff looking structure right there. That's actually one of the tips of the fingers for this arroyo that's behind it. And you can, if you look, you can see the little white campers and everything else. I think that's our trailer I see over there. But to give you an idea of the scale of how big this place is and how amazing the views are, there you go. And I'll swing around here and try to zoom in on the river plain just a little. There you go. Yeah, there it is. Wonderful, beautiful place. Great time. Get out and, oh, there's the cows. Great times. It's going to be about a 1.5 mile hike when we're through. Zoom way in. That's all I got, folks. But those little black dots are cows. And they're pretty healthy cows because this is free range area here in New Mexico. And so just to give you an idea of what's out there. You guys get out, be safe, and go adventure.